Good evening, respected doctors. Thank you for being with us during our launch program. Most of you don't know me. I'm Shanaz Tamane from Toshbro Medicals. We represent Heidelberg Engineering in India. Heidelberg Engineering is an imaging company. They have, over the last several decades, mastered the art of posterior segment imaging. In the last 6 years, they have employed a very large R&D team to work, revalidate, validate, keep working on a product that they want to launch as the perfect anterior segment unit. Today, I'm here for the launch of the same in India. I'm very proud that I am the one who's in front of you to talk about this product for the first time in India. But I'm more proud to inform you that in India, our first installation is with some very, very discerning users, Dr. Swapna and Dr. Unni Nair. Thank you. Please give them a big hand. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. I have with me the Director of Academics from Heidelberg Engineering, Mr. Martin Long. I request him to give a little brief about the product that we are launching today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shanaz. Good afternoon or even evening, everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Unni and his organization team for producing such a nice meeting. We're only halfway through and I'm looking forward to tomorrow. And also thank him for the opportunity to present to you our new baby, which we call Anterion. So we need to switch your minds a little bit because we've been talking about posterior segment and retina all day, and now we're going to zoom to the front of the eye and look into the Anterion world, to look at Anterion as a multimodal platform designed for anterior segment. You have imaging, you have metrics, you have cornea, and you have cataract capability. The imaging app is central and core to the whole system, but you can then mix and match the other applications depending on whether you need them all or whether you just want solution. So we have swept source OCT imaging and ray tracing technology. We have corneal topography and tomography. We have axial length measurement and IOL calculation and anterior segment metrics for those of you who are interested in glaucoma or closed angles related to surgery. You get a very nice image like this, and you can see all of the structures of the anterior segment, right the way from the posterior surface of the lens through the cortex to the nucleus to the posterior capsule. It's a 14mm scan depth. So anterior cornea curvature, posterior cornea curvature, total cornea power, and total cornea wavefront. So in imaging, you can see details of your corneal incision and phakic IOL placement, for example. Maybe you can see a way to improve your own surgical performance. You can check all the distances between the IOL and the lens and other structures. You can measure distances. You can visualize and improve those incisions. You may be able to see extra things that you didn't see before. Here you can see anterior and posterior capsulotomies. About uveitis and the ability to be seeing all of these little active cells in the anterior chamber. This is another possibility for those of you who are interested in this area. You can offset fixation and look at limbal and scleral regions. You can see even muscles. For the cornea, You see keratoconus very nicely in imaging. You see ICR implant. There's another one. You can correlate your external view with your B-scan, with your any type of corneal map, so you can have a much better understanding what's happening with the patient. You can look at keratoconus with differential maps, for example, and see whether there's a symmetry between the eyes. You can look at differential pachymetry maps. You can look at DSEC or DMEC and see what the result of your surgery was looking like. You can make angle assessment. Maybe you want to do that because there is a high rate of angle closure glaucoma with PKP. You can correlate the map with the imaging. You can look at axial tangential curvature maps, astigmatism keratoconus here, elevation maps, best fit sphere, best fit toric, again, astigmatism keratoconus. You can look at whatever you want and in whatever sequence that you like. You can choose. Pachymetry maps. Total cornea power is a combination of 3. So you have anterior, posterior, and pachymetry map to create your total corneal power. You have wavefront analysis, which will be needed for toric IOL implantations, depending on the size of the pupil. You can visualize the ciliary sulcus, which actually might be a surrogate for white to white. Scleral spur distance is very comparable. You can see the anterior capsule and the posterior capsule. You can get accurate lens thickness measurements, and we use swept source OCT for axial length. We've got eye tracking on the Anterion. It's not the same as it is on the Spectralis, but the eye tracking makes sure that you stick on the visual axis, and that gives us much greater measurement accuracy when we look at the axial length measurements. And in fact, the axial length measurements, if you look on the standard deviation, 0.001, so very accurate fixation check and axial length measurement. Even through dense cataracts, the longer wavelength of swept source allows you to do dense cataracts much better. Finally, glaucoma, last but not least. Of course, you can assess how the angles look just by looking on the imaging. You could measure whatever you want. Scleral spur to scleral spur is very easy to identify. You can see peripheral iridotomy. You can see stents very nicely. There's another one. The anterior chamber angle is much clearer than we've seen before, and we do a radial scan for a glaucoma assessment, so we have 12 clock hours and we can produce a 360-degree angle closure map. You can see lens vault. Where's the position of the lens? Have you got an open angle? Have you got a relatively closed angle? Finally, imagine you could have Spectralis and Anterion together, and you could give your patients an image like that. Thank you very much for your time, and thanks very much for the opportunity to present for the first time in India.